Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of It Just Is, the pod, where we talk about literally anything. I'm Chris.
I'm Eddie.
And we're mad. We lost in the finals again. And you're like, what finals? I'm unaware of any finals. No, not the Phillies and Astros. But it is baseball, Super Mega Baseball 3, the video game. We lost in the finals for the third time in a row after making a custom team.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
We lost in the exact same way 2 years in a row.
We've been a franchise. We're the Miami Hitmen. Sick name. We have franchise players, pitchers and batters, and we've missed the playoffs like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
We've lost in the first round maybe like once or twice. We've lost in the finals 3 times for sure. We've lost in the
second round a decent amount of times.
Yeah, the second round is probably the average.
I don't think we've lost in the semis though. That's the thing. Maybe once.
I think once.
Maybe once, but every time we made it to the semis, it's been a good winning percentage.
So, yeah, that's awful. But you know what? I just thought of this now. By the time we're done first year, we'll have 2 chips.
Absolutely.
We'll have 2 chips and we'll report it right here.
Absolutely. Also, you know what? We need to stop being the Dodgers because we have a good team.
Oh, God.
We have a great team. We have a fantastic team, but we just lose in the playoffs.
You know what we need? We need a Super Mega Baseball 3 pandemic bubble.
So we get the Mickey Mouse chip?
Yes,
sir.
Yes.
Dodgers Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. We'll report back on that. Speaking of reporting back, last week I said I had a presentation. I'll report back. I killed that.
Yes,
I absolutely
sir.
slaughtered that. Slaughtering.
Did you put Zach's stupid S on it?
That was in that presentation. That was a different.
Did you do that one?
But I had to record a video and submit it as like a presentation video because we didn't have time.
Why did they even just do presentations in the first place when they knew they weren't even going to get halfway through the class? There was
Literally.
like 5 people
who
presented before you.
What we're talking about is I had a presentation for the same class that I was talking about last week, only this presentation, I had to make an art piece. It could be physical, it could be drawn. I decided to go with drawn. I used Photoshop to make the Super S. And if you don't know what the Super S is, stop living under your rock. It's that like S that you draw with like the 3 lines at the top, 3 lines at the bottom. You connect some lines, you make some lines here and there. You get the Superman S, or you can have different variations of it. I had Eddie here because I needed 2 art pieces from other people who followed my instructions. Because my assignment was to make an art piece, have some instructions, and see if someone else can replicate what my goal was from my instructions. And so I had Eddie and Zach draw a Super S. Eddie got it like instantly. He didn't have to look at my instructions. I'm like, yo, can you draw a Super S? And he just did it. Zach was like, I got this. I don't even need the instructions, right? Messes up instantly. I'm like, okay, bro, just look at my instructions, right? He looks at like 2 instructions. He's like, nah, I got this. Holy hell, this guy does not know how to draw a Super S.
This guy was trying to reverse engineer it.
He's trying to reverse engineer, connect lines that didn't even belong there, make lines that like were like
fat.
He drew like a short, stubby, like wide Super S, and it was hilarious.
My Super S looks like pre-COVID people, and his Super S looks like what happened to men's once COVID started. They got short and fat.
Yes. So that's assignment. Don't really care about that though. Let's move on. Yesterday, because we're recording this on Wednesday, November 2nd, Takeoff died.
Oh my God, yeah.
I molded at that.
Yeah, I'm pretty mad at that.
I molded that because I'm one of like the weirdos who liked Migos in like grade 7.
We all did. I even still do this.
I literally vibe to Slippery.
Culture, the album's kind of slaps. I can't even lie.
Yeah, like
Culture's a good album.
Anyway, so Takeoff was one of the group members in Migos. Did you see that it was apparently accidental?
Accidental? Really?
It was like a shooting that like wasn't even like a stray bullet.
What the hell?
And they were gambling.
I heard it was over a game of dice. I thought this guy was like still involved with the gangsters, which I'm like, at this point you shouldn't be, but
he was gambling, and a stray bullet apparently hit him. Like, dude, he was a chill guy. He was a chill. Like, he didn't have a bad verse. Exactly. He was my favorite too. He did not have like a bad verse.
Yeah, he had the tendency to go pretty crazy. Like he had the most potential out of
28 years old, died yesterday from a straight. That's just whack.
That's pretty whack. I heard it at like 5 a.m. on the GO train, and I searched up if it happened, but I literally heard it like the minute it broke, and I couldn't see any info.
Someone sent it to me in a group chat I'm in, and I just literally responded, "Wait, this is real?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay, you're actually admitting me."
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not one to wish death upon anyone, but when you have Lil Pump out there, how is this guy still alive?
For real.
But then this guy's like, bro, people are flopping.
Yeah, people are flopping.
Okay, well, rest in peace.
Who also died recently? The rock and roll guy, Jerry Lee Lewis or whatever.
Jerry, yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis, I think.
Let me make sure. Yes, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, that guy flopped too.
October
which is
28th,
unfortunate,
2020.
Which was like, like last week. I remember my mom told me.
So that sucks. If you're a Migos fan or like even more specifically a Takeoff fan, like I feel bad for you, but what can you do?
Yeah, I know. It's a tough world.
Moving on. Phillies win.
I didn't even know that till 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so Phillies won. I'm cheering for Philly because cheer for the underdog, not the cheaters. From 2017. I don't know if they're. Bro, did you see like game one? Like the Phillies, like they were like drawn. Oh, the Astros are cheating again, and then the Phillies were like, we don't care. Like we're not worried. There isn't anything there to it.
The Phillies?
The Phillies said that about the Astros. Like,
Good.
Like there isn't any like palm like gooey.
Yeah, I
like-
love the Phillies being like just business about that, like all business and not complaining is good. You know
Yeah.
what the Yankees would say? Well, they've been cheating since 1917
For the culture.
for the culture. Yeah, the Yankees blamed like the roof being open as some sort of like
Yeah.
plot against them. Like what a privileged team.
Yeah.
And then you got the Phillies who just don't make excuses.
Cheer for the underdog unless like I always cheer all the time. I always cheer for the underdog unless the team they're going against I absolutely hate or a team in that series is like one that I cheer for.
Yeah,
Like explicitly like. But
same.
I
I also
could
want
not
Bryce
get it.
Harper to win a ring.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool. I like that guy.
Yeah. So yeah, Phillies won 7-0.
Damn, what the hell was that bad?
Yeah. What happened? So they can go to 7. You never know what this.
I think they're gonna win in 7.
Yeah.
I don't.
So-
Houston's not gonna go down easy.
Yeah. Moving on, I have a short little thing about the Maple Leafs.
Okay.
We'll talk about where they are right now, and then we'll move on. I was telling Eddie just before the podcast, I need to read something to him that made me cry laughing, and we'll get to that. I'll make it as short as possible. So anyway, today's Wednesday, the 2nd. Leafs are at home against the Flyers. Leafs are what, 7th, I think, in the Atlantic, and I know for a fact the Flyers are 4th.
4-4-2 with the record. The Leafs.
4-4-2 the Leafs, and then the Flyers are, I think I wrote it down, 5-2-2.
Or 5-2-2. Okay, so they
5-2.
lost.
They lost yesterday
Okay, I thought
in
they were gonna-
overtime. I think they lost 1-0. So
That's a
against
game
New
that-
York in
yeah.
overtime. So
Against New York, yeah.
yeah, Shiesty made some saves. I
What
guess.
the hell is John Tortorella doing to that team in?
Literally,
Philadelphia?
they're supposed to be tanking,
They're supposed to be terrible.
but whatever. So the game's tonight at 7 p.m. This is a huge game for the Leafs, which it shouldn't be, but apparently it is.
Tom
now.
Wilson.
Tom Wilson to Toronto. But I'm not really too focused on talking about the Leafs and the game tonight. More so the Leafs and something else. So today, Monday morning, I'm in class. I finished my assignment or like my schoolwork very quickly. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? I go to I was watching this Twitch streamer last night, Doug. I love that guy. And he uses this like AI text generator whenever he needs to like, he's like a coder. He does all that stuff with games. And then like he's like using the AI generator, text generator, story generator to like help him, whatever, with character development or whatever, right?
Right.
So I'm bored. I have nothing to do. I have time to kill. So I go to this same website that he uses. I was not expecting it to be this funny and this like knowledgeable. And this is the first time I'm telling Eddie about this. And this is the first time Eddie's going to hear this story. It's a bit long. Like hopefully it'll take like.
Is this the thing that you wanted to read to me?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the thing I wanted to read to you. So this is disclaimer, warning. This is not real. This is my conversation with an AI. So let me explain how it works in like 30 seconds. You put into a text box anything you want. It doesn't have to be sports related, Leafs related. It can be literally anything. It could be politics. It doesn't matter. You put in whatever you want. You click enter, and then the AI starts generating text after what you wrote to follow that story, that narrative. And then you can add to it. So like they'll generate some text, they'll stop after a sentence, 2 sentences, whatever. And then you'll add something more if you want, or you can not add anything and just ask the bot to keep going. I had some fun with this. I actually was laughing in class. I had to suppress my laughter so that no one would actually hear. So I will let you know when this is me typing and when this is the bot typing.
Okay.
So this is me typing. This is what I type in the box. It was a cool, gloomy day in downtown Toronto. Fans of the Maple Leafs were waiting for the clock to strike 7 p.m. to watch their team take on the Flyers. It was a dark time for Leafs fans. How could it not be? With a 4-4-2 record, anyone would be upset. Head coach Sheldon Keefe was facing backlash. General manager Kyle Dubas hasn't made any trades in months, last one being the acquisition of goaltender Matt Murray. What were Leafs fans expecting going into that night's game? The Maple Leafs were on a 4-game losing streak. Worst of all, losing in overtime to the worst team in hockey, the Anaheim Ducks. John Tortorella was behind the bench for the Flyers that night, so Leafs fans did not sleep with ease. He most certainly was not going to make that game easy for Leafs, and so it happened. The clock struck 7 p.m., the game was on. Here comes The bot.
Let's hear it.
On your feet! On your feet! Screamed the fan near me. I looked around and saw that everyone else had stood up as well. This is the biggest game of the year. Let's go, Leafs. No, he's like, let's go, Leafs go.
Okay.
So then this is what I respond with. So I stood up.
Mm-hmm.
Bot comes back. We chanted until we got to our seats. As soon as we sat down, the PA system came out. Welcome to the ACC, Leafs Nation. I'm not kidding. This one in a row. Tonight we are here with the Philadelphia Flyers. I type in.
Yeah.
Boo, we yelled. The bot comes back. The PA announcer continued. As always, we have the Canadian national anthem. I looked over to, this is still the bot. I looked over to my friend who was sitting next to me. She smiled at me. I love this song, she said. So I type, that's weird, I responded. Bot goes on to say, you're not usually like this, but yeah, I know it. She laughed. Yeah, I can't help it. It's just that I've been watching them play since I was born. My mom used to take me to games when I was little. I type, that struck me as odd. Why in the hell would her own mother expose her to such dark times? The Leafs were awful when we were young. The bot goes in. Well, I guess not that bad, but still. I thought about what she had said. My mom used to take me to games when I was little. For some reason, that set off a light bulb in my head. So I type,
Okay.
right. I don't care if she went to games when she was little. I care about tonight's game. Bot goes, if the Leafs lose again, I'm done. I'll stop watching them and go back to watching the Raptors. Base, by the way, but okay.
Deserved.
The bot goes on. The lights dimmed as the crowd roared. I stood up straight. I couldn't wait to see the Leafs score. I type. And so, the first period began. The bot goes in. And the Maple Leafs' starting goalie, Garrett Sparks, let in a goal against the Flyers. No surprise there. The second period began.
God damn.
And the Leafs starting goalie, Garrett Sparks let in another goal against the Flyers. So I type, we were down 2 goals and no one played well until Captain John Tavares got the barn celebrating from, and then the bot goes, the bench. He scored right away and the game was tied, and then the third period started. John Tavares scores on the power play, tying the game at 3-3. Ooh, the crowd cheered. I type, I looked over to my friend Big Bertha. We were so happy. We got our money's worth since we witnessed 6 goals thus far. We bought popcorn and drinks, got back in our seats, and watched the third period unfold. The bot goes, it seemed as though the game was going to go into overtime when the referee blew his whistle. The Leafs had won 6-5. My friend Bertha jumped up and down. I was ecstatic. I was on cloud 9. Then I typed, the Leafs won! The Leafs won! I shouted. John Tortorella has lost against us, which made me even happier. Bot goes in. I turned to my friend and gave her a big hug. She squeezed me tight and whispered in my ear, thank you. I replied, you're welcome. I took a deep breath. Then I typed, I had to take a deep breath. It was Big Bertha after all. We didn't leave right away. We wanted to hear the post-game interviews from the Buds. So the bot goes, they were talking about the win, John Tortorella and the future. There was a lot of positive energy in the room. I could tell that they weren't afraid to talk about the playoffs yet. Well, except for Mike Babcock.
What?
He always talked about the playoffs. He never cared about anything else. Then it was announced that the players would be signing autographs and taking pictures with the fans. I type.
Did the bot type the thing about Mike Babcock?
Yes. Then I type. And
Oh
so,
my God.
after that night, Toronto fans had gone back to being gaslit by other NHL fan bases. I mean, we celebrated a win over the Flyers like it was a Game 7 of the finals. There were still 71 games left in the season. The bot goes, and so we waited. And in that waiting, the Maple Leafs went on to lose 10 of their next 13 games. They were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and most people were calling for a rebuild. Their last win was a shootout victory against the Arizona Coyotes. I go, ah yes, my Toronto Maple Leafs. And finally the bot ends it off by saying, it was a cool, gloomy day in downtown Toronto. Fans of the Maple Leafs were waiting for the clock to strike 7 p.m. to watch their team take on the Senators. It was a dark time for Leafs fans. How could it not be?
Damn, why is this bot kind of good? What the heck?
This bot is so funny. And bro, and I tell you, I had to like duct tape my mouth. I saw Garrett Sparks.
Garrett Sparks hasn't played in a game in the NHL in years. No, oh wait, no, he played for Vegas like one game last.
Played like he got, bro, like he was hot and then he was just ice cold.
And then he was not.
Thoughts on this bot?
I wonder what it can do with any. Like, I'm gonna go home and try something with it. Like, I'll type in a random story. I'll see what I type in, but it seems interesting.
You think it's headed in the right direction with the 10 losses in the next 13 games? Do we call for a rebuild?
I mean, I wouldn't say, we're working hard in here. We're doing the right things. We're skating hard, putting pucks in deep,
Getting people opportunities.
and results will come.
Oh,
There's your answer. I gave you a hockey player answer.
that was hilarious. If you want to use this bot, just literally search up AI text generating bot. First thing that pops up. We'll see how the Leafs do in today's game, but
Tom Wilson.
do you want to talk about that for a sec?
It's up to you.
Basically, Eddie comes over a few days ago and just like, thoughts on your Toronto Maple Leafs. And I go, I love this core. And he's like, I love them too, but they're not going to do it.
Yes.
He's like, this is what Eddie said. No reason to believe. And I absolutely agree. No one has a reason to believe. I'm not going to like be mad at anyone who's like, I don't believe. Bro, they haven't shown anything to believe in, right?
Exactly.
I'm just naive. I'll fully admit that. I'm naive and very stupid in the sense that it'll break my heart. Let's say Mitch Marner gets traded and his career stat sheet is, 6 seasons in Toronto? Or, 6 seasons in Toronto, followed by like, he has 3 years left. So let's say he gets traded to Washington. So it goes tour, Washington, and he signs with like New York then, right? I want to see this man retire a Leaf. It's stupid because he's not going to get much done. And a chip is much more worth that. But anyway, that's besides the point. So he's like, I don't know. We need like a trade. We need something. And he's like asking me, when do you think we could see a trade? When do you think we could see like something happen? I have no idea. And so I opened NHL 22 on my PlayStation. I'm like, let's do some very realistic simulations, very like accurate. And I'm like, I go to Eddie. I'm like, what about Tom Wilson? And he's like, wow, sensational. Because can you imagine Tom Wilson on the top line protecting Matthews, on the second line with Tavares, third line with Kampf, please, if he was playing center on the third line, or the fourth line if you needed to slot him in the fourth line to finish off a game with Simmons and who did we say?
Clifford, Simmons, and Wilson.
Yeah, something like that. If I said, imagine if Jason Spezza unretired and you had him in the center with Wilson and Simmons on his wing, like
sensational.
So the trade I did on Chell was Mitchell Marner for Tom Wilson and Dmitry Orlov, the defenseman.
That trade would actually go through. Like, that's legitimate. That's a fair
the cap
trade.
Works and everything. And another thing that really put into perspective for us, this was assuming that Muzzin retires or like he just can't play and his 5 point whatever is on LTIR. It's just not against the cap. Justin Hull's traded, let's say, or he's kept as depth. I don't know. If he was kept as depth, the cap hit would still work. Like it wouldn't like by trading Mitch Marner away. And let's say you do a 1-for-1 Tom Wilson for Mitch Marner. Yeah, you have $5 million in cap free. Because we found out, oh my God, another thing we found out, Tom Wilson is 28 or 29 now.
Yeah,
we thought he was approaching his mid-30s.
Yes, I did too.
What the hell?
You know why? Because you know how people was like, oh, Washington's an aging core. And I always consider Tom Wilson part of that.
Yeah, part of that. Because like, you don't think of Ovi and TJ Oshie and all these Kuznetsov, and you don't think of Tom Wilson.
Facts.
That's something that we thought about.
I love it. I love it so much.
I know a lot of people have like this like tattooed like this has to happen. Would I like to see it? Yes. Keep in mind Tom Wilson is currently injured, and I don't know his injury history, but he's been injured for like 4 months now, and it was expected to be like a 6-month injury or recovering from surgery, something like that. So I'm not, exactly sure. That would be interesting. Tom Wilson in the lineup.
Yo, I'd love it. He's a Toronto boy. He scores 20 goals. He gets 200 hits per year. Like that's like every like I told Chris, it's every like uncle's like dream is to have a player like that in the Leafs right now. And honestly, it's become mine because like we need toughness. We don't have a power forward.
Yeah, that was the thing. The power forward. We don't have a power forward. We have Matthew Nyes, but he's not.
He's 19.
Playing. Yeah, he's
and if he comes up, he's
Minnesota,
playing.
I think.
Yeah, he's in Minnesota. He's like 19.
Like, yeah, he's young.
You're not about to go be like, oh, go in a playoff round for us. You tell that to Tom Wilson.
Unless your name is Nick Robertson.
He almost did it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's stop talking about this team because headaches and stuff. Something that I kind of wanted to talk about for like the last 10 minutes is I saw this very interesting thing on YouTube. There's this streamer that I sometimes see in my recommended. I'm subscribed to him, but I don't watch everything. Although I'd like to start watching more and more. His name's Destiny, or like his real name's Stephen Bonnell. And he'll either go like recently he went onto campus somewhere in Texas. He lives in Miami though. He went out to Texas on a campus, and he was like, do the change my mind thing. He's based in the sense where he's not like right leaning. I think what he says is that he's left leaning, but he doesn't like, he's not part of the left, and he's definitely not part of the right. So something that I saw that he posted, and I was like, that's interesting, because not only a lot of people talking about it, even though there's a lot going on with politics and society. Kanye right now is just Kanye. Ben Shapiro did something like he's like talking about like Ukraine and like nuclear weapons and Russia and US and like, okay.
He's always talking about something.
Pencil sharpener, as I like to call him. The topic that I want to bring up is, I want to ask you, has wokeism gone too far?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Talk to me about it, because I agree. But like, I saw people disagreeing, which I guess in certain like case scenarios is something that, I guess it's an arguable position to have, and something that you can like argue for or against without becoming like derailed.
Mm-hmm.
But I also agree, I think wokeism has gone too far in certain aspects. What do you think? Like, why? How?
Damn, that's putting me on the spot here. I'd have to think, but it's like, it's almost as if you like, people are afraid to say anything because not that they want to be offensive, it's just that they don't know and they're not educated enough. And then people will demonize them
Absolutely, yeah.
for saying something that's wrong and
Yeah.
they think is right, but they're wrong. And it's not that they don't want to change, it's that you'll be like, oh, you're a villain.
Yeah.
You're a menace to society. You need to get
100%.
ostracized, instead of being like, well, actually, that's not how it is. It's like this. 9 times out of 10, if they're a normal person, be like, I got you. That makes sense. It makes sense. Okay, I understand now. I see your point of view. So it's like, I don't know. It creates a toxic environment.
It is toxic. Okay, so the reason why I think wokeism has gone too far, I think that was perfect. To polish what Eddie said, because like, to be fair,
I'm on the spot right now. I can't think.
I thought about this. I wrote down the topic, right? So
right.
I had time to think about this.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely put Eddie on the spot right now. So I think you're gonna agree with me, because I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing more and more as the years go on, when we were born in the early 2000s, and then you see what it is now, like in the early 2000s and prior, you'd have someone be on the left and someone be on the right, and they could still have conversations with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Where now you have someone on the left and someone on the right, and not only are they not willing to talk to each other, let me put it out there. I'm left-leaning. I agree with more left-leaning policies than right-leaning policies. But I think the left there are certain extremes of the left that are just too far. Like, you just derail. You're just, right? And then the right is also just derailed. Like, so what Eddie was saying, and like the way I think about it, is when you have someone who's neutral, I could speak from experience because I'm still young. I'm 18 now. Around the time when I was 13, 14, I was getting into politics and understanding, okay, what is the left? What is the right? What is this? Like, what is this political stance? What does this stand for? Blah, 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 blah. When you come in as a neutral thing and you look at one side and you see the left and they're like, we're absolutely right about this. There's no debating it. And then you're like, I have a question about, no, this is how it is.
Facts,
and then you see the right, and then the right's like, well, we're willing to take you in and we're willing to answer your questions. And even though you might be wrong about this, here's why you're wrong. We'll tell you why at least. Where the left won't even tell you why you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's based.
It's like, then you have all these people who are like, well, damn it, I was neutral. These people weren't even willing to take me in. These people are willing to take me in. And then you get people getting mad. Oh, well, we can't have conversations. Obviously you can't have conversations because you're so, like, get off the sauce.
It's too stuck up in your own world.
Yeah, like,
Get off the sauce.
Get off the sauce, man, because I understand when there's like an issue that has to, like, there's an issue. This is the fact. Like, there's no denying it. This is
murder
the fact.
is bad.
Right. Or like, even if you go to statistical stuff, if you look at like a crime rate of something, if you look at the biology behind something, the science behind something, right? And then you have someone just flat out denying it because I want to be different. Like,
because they
just
don't want to accept the facts are facts.
Yeah, they want to create their own facts. They want to be responsible for their own position or something like that, right? It's like, it's difficult to, like, I 100% agree with two things that I heard. One is that when someone says or asks, has wokeism gone too far? And by the way, let me just clarify, this is Destiny's topic. That I saw the video, I watched it, and this is what he was asking people. He also, to clarify, was of the position that wokeism has gone too far, and he was debating people who would disagree with him. He gave an example of think it was a college or university somewhere in America. Excuse me. And they came out with a statistic. I want to be very careful what I talk about here. I think it was something along the lines of, they did a research of if you give hormones to a child or someone who's underage for, I guess if they're transgender, and you're giving them hormone blockers or anything like that. I think the statistic was that it either has a positive effect on the body, or it was that it doesn't have an effect on the body, but like it's a good starting place to go into that transition. And then so they released that statistic and it came out and everyone was happy about that.
Yeah.
But then upon further investigation from the university, they were like, wait, that actually isn't true. But they weren't willing to address it. They weren't willing to like retract their original statement of it. And they were like, well, people like this. People are responding well to this. And they were so like, I guess, high off that, like,
Off the sauce.
And they were like, we're getting so much positive reinforcement, good feedback. We don't want to be like put in this bad light or anything like that, that they weren't willing to retract it.
When it's statistically wrong?
When it was wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be wrong in like a bad way, but if it's just wrong, it's wrong. And it's something that people should know, because then you're just misleading
It's a good
people.
example of kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the fact is the fact. They did research. Those are scientists. Those are people that
know what they're doing.
Definitely know more than me, and maybe even probably more than you, and probably than the average person. Probably whatever opinion you have on it, the person that does that research is probably much smarter. And they're very objective with the way they do research. Yeah. Science is very like there's not really, you're not sided in science.
It's not like you like try one time, you throw like blindfolded a dart to the dartboard.
Yeah,
like,
for real. They do it. They're very meticulous. They do it over and over again, and they just like it's like a mentality. Like they take the facts. Like they go like, if I put baking soda and vinegar, it creates some sort of chemical reaction. That's the fact. The chemical reaction is that it expands and it like goes out everywhere and it creates some sort of quote unquote explosion, even though it's not. Maybe it's a miniature, insanely small explosion. I don't know science, but that's the fact. That's what they do. They look at something, and sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes they interpret it wrong, but that's why they do it over and over again, and they get it right. And the fact that they were unwilling to take that back is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, because all that information should be out there, because that's an unbiased look at an issue, and then you can make your own judgment. Do you then want to allow somebody under the age of 18 to make a choice or be allowed to do that? I think maybe you can then, that doesn't have to be like the state. I don't think the state should get involved with that. I think that should be a personal thing. That like, okay, if my kid wants to do that, I'll tell them wait till you're 18, because once you're 18 you can make your own decisions and you can live with the bad effects if there is some, according to what the study says, right? Yes. Okay, and then that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, exactly. That should be out there for people to know, so they'd be like, absolutely, okay. Yeah. And if someone's parents are okay with that, even if they're under the age of 18 and they're fine with it, then go for it. Like, it's like free country. We live in it. Do whatever you want. But I think facts should be there to inform your decision. Yeah. And so when you restrict that because you don't want to, because of like how you're looked upon, how you judge it because of the and will you ever get any recognition for any of your other future works too? Yeah. The fact that when that judges how you're looked upon, and is if you're gonna get like actual recommendations from like, you know, academic sources, and are you gonna be a trustworthy source, when that dictates whether or not the facts are not come out, then it's definitely gone too far. Yeah. So that was the first thing I agreed with, is like something that like that should not be happening. Yeah, that should not be happening. The second thing that I agreed with is that when you have a position that is taboo, or a position that like maybe there are irrefutable facts, so a lot of people will be quick to say, well, it's free speech, but then it's like, where do you draw the line of free speech? And like, brother, you're just like far gone. Yeah, there's definitely drawing a line in free speech, and there's also free speech doesn't mean you're free of consequence. Literally, like some of these people are unhinged. Yeah, I know, and then they get mad when you're like, well, I got banned off of Twitter for saying. Did you see what happened with Kanye? No. This guy said that George Floyd didn't die from the knee on his neck. He died from like the drug overdose or whatever. He was on pills or something. So he didn't die of the knee on his head, right? So Kanye's off the sauce. Kanye is unhinged, right? And then Gap is like, okay, we're cutting ties. Everyone's dropping him. He's losing. And then he comes out and he's like, oh yeah, and then he was also like, I can't remember I think it was the George Floyd family was suing Kanye, and then someone was going to sue George Floyd's family back, like a counter suit.
Anyway, and then Kanye came out and was like, "Oh my bad, I retract the statement. He did die of the knee on it." It's like, he's like, "Never mind. I know what it's like to die with the knee on the neck. I did. Never mind. Yeah." I'm like, brother, you're unhinged, pal. You're unhinged. Like this, you cannot allow this to happen. And some people, it's just free speech. It's just free. Bro,
Free speech is not free of consequence.
literally, and you have all these young children who can access the internet and who are available to see everything that's happening now, and then you have someone like Kanye who's coming out with songs within the last 5 years that will make children laugh with poopity scoop. Like, you think children are gonna laugh at that? Of course they're gonna laugh at that. They're gonna look at Kanye and be like, funny man. This guy came out with "You're such a like Roblox character.
Yeah, and then they're gonna be like, what does he have to say?
What does he have to say outside of his music? And then you see, oh, George Floyd didn't die from a knee on his neck. Like, brother,
Pal.
what are you sending out there? Anti-Semitic state, like, oh, you can see I'm kind of passionate about this because, like, bro, I love Kanye's music. I want to own his like music and stuff like that, but it's so hard to like look upon someone after like the truth has come out about their personality or like who they are internally. Like, this guy's funny. He's able to be funny. The go-to is always gonna be the can you believe it? Can you believe you don't have a jacuzzi? I always laugh at that.
Or can you tell by my face that I'm happy? And then you just blank stares.
Look at Gaga. Like, all those clips are so funny, and music is slappers. Not really the latest few albums. When you said Jesus is King is gonna be a classic or whatever.
Oh yeah, we gotta. Donda was good though. I like Donda.
But yeah, at a certain point you just have to draw a line. When you're talking about wokeism going too far, it's just like, I think it ultimately boils down to this: one, it is crucial, fundamental to be able to have a conversation with the opposition. You have to be able to. And I'm not saying like if you're antisocial now you have to go talk to people and blah, blah, blah. No, I mean like you have to, as someone who is comfortable enough to share their political opinions out there in the real world, you have to be able to listen to the other side, engage in critical thinking, and understand your position. You cannot. That's the second point. You have to understand your position. You can. I assure you, 100%. I think this was also addressed in the YouTube video. There are 100% people out there, more people than most people would think. If you go out there and be like, should the housing market be adjusted? Should whatever, some kind of social issue be this? That would seem like an obvious yes. As soon as you ask them why, they're like, because it should.
Yeah.
You need to know why you have that stance, and not because it's the popular stance or because it seems like the right stance. It shouldn't seem like the right stance. It should be right stance.
Even though in those questions it is the right stance, like what you said, should the housing market be fixed? Yes, but some people don't even know why is it. Some people don't even know why it's broken.
Yeah,
you know how to fix something if you don't know why it broke.
That's the thing. You could be right about a stance and not even know it, and I don't think that's helpful to you.
That's because that's not critical thinking.
It's not.
We need critical thinkers.
You do need critical thinking. Like, people will be so quick to write off the right, but the thing is they have some good policies in place, or have had some good policies in place that have been abolished. Same with the left, but when you're unwilling to even acknowledge let me retract that, because the left does acknowledge the right and the right does acknowledge the left, but they only highlight the bad stuff.
Absolutely.
They're unwilling to address the good stuff.
It's like I said earlier with you, it's like they're sports teams now. It's like you're either a leftist or you're a rightist. You're nothing in between. You're a Leafs fan, you're a Habs fan. If you're a Habs fan, you talk nothing good about the Leafs and vice versa. Yeah. And now if you're leftist, you talk nothing good about the right and vice versa. It's like that will get us nowhere.
That will actually move us closer and closer to.
Actually, they'll take us backwards. Yeah,
gonna so.
You're right.
What do you people think? Do you think that wokeism has gone too far? Please, after listening to this, critically think to yourself.
I also have one last thing to say.
What's up?
Final statement. Do you think maybe wokeism, which is a far extreme of left, has led to the far extreme of right, people like Kanye saying outlandish things on the internet? Because when you have one extreme, you always tend to get the other extreme.
Yes.
And that's a theory of balance in like every set of the world. Even in like when trends, like even trends in clothing. If something, you had those skinny jeans all the way in 2010s, and now we have mans are wearing pants that are like size 38 and they wear 22.
Yeah, and like, it's below their like waist. And
but that's just the law of trends. Like, I'm using that as an example to make it understandable for people in the everyday world, where it's like a law of trends. If you have one extreme, the other extreme will eventually come.
Yeah. Yes, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
Because Kanye said, have you watched his Tucker Carlson interview?
No.
And then, so I'm guessing you haven't seen any of his recent interviews.
I saw clips, but I haven't seen the entire thing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if this, because I watched a few interviews. I'm not sure if this was a Tucker Carlson interview or an interview that he did with someone else, and I'll find his name while I talk about it. But Kanye did say something along the lines of, it's because, like, I had my opinions way before he came out with all of these crazy, like, statements and stuff, right? And he's like, it was because people were unwilling to listen to me, and the right was so welcoming of me that I'm here on Fox News instead of CNN.
There you go.
I'm here on. So when people are being allowed to speak and are feeling heard, obviously they're going to gravitate towards someone or a group that is in opposition to something else. So back to the sports analogy, if I'm a nobody and I just instantly, oh, hockey seems fun, let me start watching hockey, but I have maybe I live in Oregon, so I don't know who to cheer for, I don't have a team. Seattle's like, screw you, we're not talking to you. But Vancouver, the Vancouver Canucks are like, yeah, we'll teach you, this is what offside is, this is what this is like how many switching lines and blah blah blah. Obviously they're gonna become a Canucks fan. That's who's gonna do. That's who they.
Because that's who brought them
up into it. That's
yeah. I agree.
And Kraken weren't even willing to acknowledge them. So
damn, you literally just brought proof to my point.
Yeah, so
it does that's a thing that happens.
Yeah, so Kanye said it himself. Like, it's because the right was willing to listen to me and like let me at least speak my mind that
the left wouldn't even let him open his mouth.
Yeah, like they weren't gonna acknowledge anything. So, yes, I do agree. The person who did an interview with Kanye as well, his name is Fridman, Fridman, Lex Fridman. Russian-American computer scientist. Oh, wow. And the episode I'm referring to is Kanye Ye West interview, Lex Fridman podcast 332. That's the Kanye. It could have been that Kanye interview or the one with Tucker Carlson. So yeah. Where
he said the leftist thing, right? Where you said
where the left did not take me in and the right did. So
interesting, very interesting the way the world works.
Yeah. So that's all we have time for this week. Unfortunate, but I think we did bang out a lot of topics: baseball, hockey, politics.
Pretty good topic.
First political discussion too on this, which is nice.
Pretty good topic. We did it pretty well.
So
handled it like professionals.
Yeah. Hopefully, listen, if you do disagree with me or Eddie, let us know.
Come and talk to us in person. We're okay with
share your. Listen, we're willing to have you share your opinion on the podcast too.
We're not like we just said we're okay with. We just talked about how we're willing, like how people should listen to other people, and we're not going to back down from that. If you want to
share your opinion, share your point of view. So
we preach what we practice what we preach. That we're trying to.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. So if you're watching this on YouTube, our Instagrams are in the description. If you're listening on Spirit Live, my Instagram is at CHRIS_KRIS21.
At Dead or Alive, 2 E's, 2 underscores.
There you go. So let us know if you'd like to be on the podcast and discuss this and share your opinions. Thank you very much for listening to this week's episode, and we'll see you next week. Take care.